This is Hillary Winston, writer.
Allison Brie, I play Annie. There I am.
I'm Dan Harmon.
And I'm Donald Glover. I play Troy.
I'm going to try to answer some Twitter questions and we didn't have a lot for this episode, so I'm going to pepper general questions in here and quick answers whenever there's a lull.
Yeah.
Sex ed episode.
It's pretty good.
Who is your favorite cast member? You know you have one. Donald. Seen right here, being very funny.
Wow. That was awesome.
This is really awkward.
Very awkward, but
Allison
awesome.
right
I
here.
mean,
I think it's
awesome for
only-
me. I'm sure if I was like anybody else, I'd feel awful.
It's
but...
maybe only awkward for me.
Oh, yeah. Hillary's not on the show. So,
I brushed my bangs in this episode.
No, you
No, that was the last one.
Another
Oh, it was?
episode.
Did you guys
or
see
is
it?
that a returning character? I did not know.
Bang
Bang
Brusher
Brusher Girl.
How long does it take for an episode to go from an idea pitched to a finished script? Hillary, do you know that? You gonna say a month? No,
yeah,
a month.
yeah.
That couldn't be. Yeah,
I think a month
The
is-
answer
that's
is a
fair.
month, but you do so many. They all overlap. So you're sort of like you're breaking one story, and then at the same time you've got another writer's room and stuff. But the actual bill to a law process from idea to what we're shooting, basically a month's work.
I want hidden cameras in every stall.
Did you guys talk about me brushing my bangs in that other episode?
We
Yeah, we
did.
totally
did.
did.
We were like, that's Hillary. She wrote that.
That's
That's
the
the
writer.
writer.
She loves brushing her bangs.
I was really fat then. Look at how in shape I am now.
Wow, you look
You do
amazing.
look great.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Catch
You might not be
knowledge.
able to say, "Oh, here's a
We
title
did that
sequence."
catch knowledge in post.
You guys think that's an
love the
ugly title
I
sequence?
love
I don't. I
it.
really like it.
I think
It's
that the
growing on
paper
me.
needs to be textured.
Textures a little bit more.
I need some loose leaf.
I love that sweater on Chevy.
It looks like
yeah.
paper from the movie The Science of Sleep.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like kind of that
Very.
claymation animation,
Yeah.
stop motion.
Has anybody talked about how the theme song is about a lynching?
What?
Has anybody
Speaking
talked
of
about the
which-
fact that Dan Harmon likes to sing the theme song at every table read?
Yeah.
And it's always really cute.
Give me some cream. Give me some hope to put out a steam.
Are those even the words?
I love that.
No.
Okay.
Someone said, tweeted us, I love that racism does not compute poster. Who made it? Our art department did, but I wrote it. Are we
Did
going to
you?
be able to
And you
buy
have a
it
T-shirt.
anytime soon?
You gotta wear one.
Rob Schraub made me a T-shirt out of it.
Yeah,
'cause gave him the
I think
PDF.
that's a cast favorite too. That poster, racism does not compute.
Yeah, I remember the first day we were like, oh, that's really kind of funny and awesome and something that would be there.
We take turns taking photos of each other with it.
People have pointed out the irony that, of course, racism does compute all too well. That's the problem. That racism is, in fact, over-computation, an attempt by the human mind to categorize and reduce
That's
to
the problem with racism. It's that it
very, very calculated.
very calculated.
So we're just. It makes a lot of sense. Is that what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
We need to post racism makes sense, but it shouldn't.
It
Racism
shouldn't.
totally
Right.
computes.
Well, it's
Don't overthink racism. That's
well,
what it should say.
racism is reducing people to characteristics and then making and then make it so that's it computes too well.
It computes way too well.
You're
That's the
over
problem.
computing.
Oh,
Slow
wait,
that,
wait,
slow
wait,
that
wait.
brain down, Einstein.
Oh my gosh.
Stop
Can I
hating
just say,
black people.
all right, Harmon, can I just
Sorry.
say that don't eat the crab dip line is another like cast favorite. Like that's one of the lines that's quoted constantly on set, except they didn't use the
The
take
right- the one
that we all
that we
quote.
all love.
So for weeks while this was in post-production, everybody would be like, don't eat the crab dip. What?
And then we
that's
used
like our
yay,
big
yay.
cast quote, and finally the episode aired, and we all watched it, and we were like, yay, yay.
I made this
I
big
know.
poster that said, don't eat the crab dip. What?
We literally have T-shirts
My
that say,
wife was
don't
there.
eat the crab dip.
Did you ad lib yay yay, or did
What?
I put that in the script? Because I used to say yay yay all the time. Did you
You put
ad-lib
what
that?
in the script?
What was in the
Yeah.
script? And then they were just like, go crazy. Don was like, yeah,
Yeah,
it was in there.
That's pretty crazy.
That's what people do when they say to go crazy.
Well, if you're looking for this stuff, you've come to the right commentary track. Slight error here. Like, if you were a real cad, if you were like Sam from Cheers, wouldn't you put the women's names in your phone so that you can remember?
Remember
I don't
It's a
think he-
handy mnemonic device.
But I don't think he knew ever.
Right.
I think that
he's such a cad that he
just
like
doesn't.
banged a redhead at a car wash.
And
Yeah.
the next day,
Yeah.
he saw
Ran
the
it.
number and he was like, "Oh, I guess that was that car wash redhead. I'll just type that in here so I can remember."
Right.
That amazing bang.
All right. Okay. Good. Glad we
Yeah.
came up with something.
maybe her name was like Sarah, and there were tons of Sarahs that. I just left with an identifier.
I always thought her name was Redhead at Car Wash.
Twitter
I thought she was just,
question.
Oh, that's her
Like
last
her
name.
Yeah, her
at
last
Car
name is
Wash?
Car Wash.
Twitter question theme song. Do you make up the course titles at Greendale, or are they actual community college classes? Yes. Ah ha ha. The
Yes,
the yes
which?
joke. Do we make them up, but you would be surprised if you
How
Google
similar
it,
they are.
the kinds of classes you can take at a community college. I've seen something like international fragrances and cosmetics marketing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
My college had the study of UFOs, and it was a regular college. Well, it was an art college, but it wasn't a community college.
My old boss, Greg Garcia, took a class at Frostburg State that was called French People.
Oh, okay. Can I say
Wow.
something about this scene? Okay, so so this reference that's about to happen right here
Oh, right,
is
yeah.
actually based on a true story from my life, which was recently published in a book that you could buy, and then was widely misinterpreted online. But prior to any of that, the writers thought that it was a really funny story and decided to mine me for details, and so this detail about Madonna's erotica and not seeing a penis even though you're having sex with someone that turns out to be gay is a true story from my life.
I remember
How is it misinterpreted?
Well, I think when
Just overreacted to, given that it's just a story from a young.
well, because I had it put in this book called Worst Laid Plans, and it was performed as a UCB show, which was all meant for comedy.
I was looking at that book yesterday.
It was all meant for comedy, and it was embellished a bit for comedic purposes. And online, it was sort of like when it's taken out of context, when it's in the book along with 39 other stories that are about like sexual mishaps, it's funny and I think it comes across. But when it's just singled out on like a sex website, it's quite graphic of a story. And I
Alison
think
Brie turns man gay.
it was like Alison Brie's confessional, like Alison Brie comes out as super slut in
Wow.
college.
Well, I think there's a lot of attention paid to anything about you right now because you're clearly the new Mary Ann from the new Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Absolutely.
So they were like,
In the-
"What? She's confessing that she was like a big whore." And it
well,
was
you are
really
a big
exciting.
sex freak, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's what
am,
you wanna-
but I didn't mean to confess it then.
Right.
I was kind of
You're just not ready
waiting
to
for my
confess.
novel to come out.
All right. Why is Jeff Winger the only one who says Star Burns while everyone else
It is
says
so weird.
Star-
Why does he do
Can
that?
I say
It's
something?
because he thinks that Star Burns is
No.
related to Ken Burns or Star Jones.
Star Burns.
True story. Joel really doesn't grasp.
he doesn't
that
grasp
he
that.
says
He
it
says it
wrong.
that
And
way.
when we shot the chicken finger episode, I sat with him and coached him on how to say it for like
Star Burns.
15 minutes, and he still doesn't do it right.
Star
I,
Burns.
I love this
He
Wheel
can't
of
hear
Remorse,
it.
by the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
that the production department
Oh my
did.
gosh,
It
this
was really
whole-
funny.
The whole STD fair, I think the production department
They
did a
did
great
such
job.
a
The art
great
department.
job.
There was actually caricatures of each of us
With
with
STDs.
STDs.
Yeah.
with STDs.
Like with herpes and syphilis. and-
Mine was
Yeah.
awful. I didn't like it because like I was smiling, but like there's just obviously I have like crabs. And
yeah,
I'm just like
they was
scratching
just, like,
them, and I'm like got a big
crabs crawling all over.
smile. I don't like it.
Just this morning when I was
She was really awesome.
Yeah,
By the
she
way.
was
She was really
great.
sweet.
Donald, maybe you can answer this from
Okay.
Twitter. Any Troy Abed post credits ideas, tags, in other words, you had that didn't work out? If so, what were they and why didn't they work? Did we shoot any that we didn't use?
Wasn't
That we
there
didn't
one
use?
extra
Or
one?
write any that we didn't shoot?
I honestly don't think so. I think we used them all. I mean, like in the
I was
Halloween
most worried
episode.
about the crossword puzzle one.
Oh, really?
I remember reading the script, but I think you guys kind of saved it. I don't know who wrote it, so I'm not digging on them. But like, I
Sharon
think you guys
Lawrence.
kind of saved it on set, right?
Yeah,
That
Sharon-
happened
Sharon
a lot
Lawrence
with
was
those
great.
tags.
Sharon
That's
Lawrence
what
is
I'm
We tried to make
amazing.
it,
She was awesome.
clear what it was for.
All right, back to this episode.
I love them together.
The
They're
dean
really
again. Jim Rash's brilliance just. We could talk about it in every episode,
I
and this is a
know.
great one for him with
He's
all
so
the
awesome.
sexual stuff.
This
It's
is one
so
of his
funny.
best
That's a good answer to
episodes.
this Twitter question. What was your favorite discovery during the production of the first season? Jim
Jim
Rash.
Rash.
Jim Rash.
Jim
Yeah.
Rash. Period.
Jim Rash, he's so awesome.
Jim Rash. That time he got his period.
Right.
That was so weird.
You know, he wrote the next Alexander Payne movie,
What?
and he doesn't tell anybody.
Wait,
Are
is
you
this
serious?
Yes, it just shot in Hawaii with George Clooney, and he wrote it.
So awesome.
I know he's Jim Rash
Again,
is
Jim Rash
not only
is
a writer.
brilliance.
Lots of comedians are writers and actors and writers. Jim Rash is a good writer.
Yeah.
and a great
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
It's a little creepy.
It's a little creepy.
Donald, you're a writer.
Oh my gosh.
Donald was a writer on 30 Rock. That's why he's funny. Allison,
I just write
She
weird
wrote a
only
sex
writes-
book, sex
Yeah, she
stories.
writes
Gay romps.
So I
slash fiction for
I
the
loved
internet.
Over the
slash
Top.
nonfiction.
So you love
Oh, yeah.
that story, huh, Dan?
I
Over
haven't
the
read
Top
it.
was one of my favorite
I've
movies.
heard the story.
Over the
We
Top is
used
awesome.
it basically for the thing.
I know.
I love the story.
One
Allison
thing
thinks
that
that I, because I'm like Santa Claus, that I don't want any of the elves being sexual. Sorry, go ahead, Donald.
No, I was just gonna. It's not even at the part yet, but I was gonna say a lot of people ask like, "Oh, the slow motion in this part," but like, there's right here, we're just moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
it wasn't
super
filmed
funny.
in slow
It
motion.
wasn't
Yeah.
filmed in slow motion. This is just us.
And Ludwig did this music. It's so great. And look at Danny's face.
I feel like there was one summer on HBO where this was on like every 4 hours, this movie.
All the
Because you
time.
used to get that booklet. HBO would send you a booklet in the
Oh,
mail.
yeah.
Like, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
And the do, 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 and it would go through the HBO.
Yeah.
And then it would be so exciting.
I like that Annie's wearing gloves.
I
like, she's not going to
know.
leave fingerprints anywhere. And this was a fun scene. This stuff was fun to shoot because it was like, we see all the girls together. It's just 3 girls. It was not since the bathroom stuff with the crying.
Yeah.
This was the first time they're like getting into trouble and talking
The
about
one question we
penises.
have for on Twitter
yeah.
for this episode specifically, please explain the giant hole that the dean had put in his door.
Oh, there was a lock
The-
there.
Yeah, there was a lock there,
there.
clearly. See, look, what
Somebody
happened?
tried to break
Somebody
in.
tried to break in once, got
So
that
they had to
Blu-ray DVD player, and
reinstate.
they
They had to
snapped
put
the
a new lock
yeah.
on.
I mean, you,
Also, there's no doorknob. Like somebody took the
yeah,
doorknob out.
They
Yeah,
took the
that's
doorknob
right.
off,
Lock
and then
and
they had.
doorknob.
That's why the padlock is there.
so you're asking that question to try to snark us up, but
my favorite joke.
What?
I love that joke.
Is that considered big?
Big, oh, yeah.
And Charlie says
yeah.
no.
And Britt is like,
Yvette says
yeah.
sometimes just straight up stereotype.
Yeah, but it
It's
was
just
just
funny.
It's just a good dick joke.
It was so innocent.
We
It
just
was-
saw
well done.
Craig Kakowski. That was his first appearance. Brother of Liz Kakowski, no longer on Community, but one of our best writers for the first season. Craig Kakowski. Then you'll see later, inexplicably promoted to an officer of
First
the
he was
Denver
just
Police
security,
Department.
and then he's a cop. Anytime we need someone in uniform, it's him.
Go get us another round. You know, you are not what I expected.
How many actors did you go through for each lead before finding the ones? That's Twitter. I have 3.
3?
3 what? For
3
who?
for each. 3 for each
Oh, 3 for
role.
each?
For
For
Donald,
each.
we looked at Danny Glover. We looked at Kanye West. And,
You
yeah,
couldn't get Kanye.
And
The offer was too low.
Crispin Glover.
and Crispin Glover. And then we were like, wait a minute, we can't, because they all passed.
I will take physicals over. We need to talk every time.
But we decided to combine Danny Glover and Crispin Glover
That's
Good.
the way to go.
Yeah.
by
I would actually be really excited to see who you guys saw for the role. Like how different it was going to be.
it was
Yeah.
a
Because
lot.
we saw Jim Rash's, and it was amazing.
Oh, the alternative.
alternative
to
Oh
Jim
Jim
yeah,
Rash.
yeah, including George Takei.
Yeah, and that was utterly amazing. Because like it wasn't bad. It was just different. It's just like a different thing. Like it was like
Yeah.
it was like seeing an alternate universe.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine your characters being anybody else now, you know,
Right.
at all. It's so
Yeah.
weird, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But it will cost you $200.
Was it a conscious decision from the beginning to never show anything off campus? Absolutely, and a very difficult one to maintain. The writers hated me for the first 12 episodes. 'cause
Really? Was
would-
that a big issue?
We would break episodes. Well, because it's easier to tell stories if you can go to a restaurant or
someone's
something,
house.
or
Yeah.
someone's house.
Yeah.
So and then for the first 6, I would say 6, not 12. Like I would be like a real buzzkill and like hear a pitch of a story and go like, that's cool, it's really good, but like, is there any way to keep it all on campus? Like that's why there's all these picnics and
And
dances.
dances, yeah.
But after a while, we just got in the habit of it. It stopped being an effort at all because you start seeing the show and you realize the merit of that. It creates an insular environment. It's a more protective womb for the tone of your show. Now you're watching this, and maybe the second season is on the air by now. You'll notice that we are in the second season. We don't need that anymore. We can let that rocket booster go, and that's what's going to be really cool. You may not notice it consciously, but the show will feel like it's growing, and that the characters are becoming more real because you'll start to see dates that they're on and apartments and stuff.
Right.
Can I say that's
is
Liz,
Liz
that's
Kakowski.
Liz Kakowski. sister of the security guard,
She's
and one of our
very funny.
writers.
Yeah, we missed
And
you,
there's her
Liz.
brother.
Liz wrote 104. Well, I don't know which episode it was. You'll hear me talking about her script on the commentary for that. It was one of the first. Liz wrote this great draft early on when we really needed it. We were behind schedule. I was a mess up, like inexperienced showrunner, and Liz just cranked out a nice draft of her episode that got us briefly back on schedule before I could screw it up again.
And we shot this scene. It was like 3 a.m, and we were all so exhausted. But Jim Rash kept improving the funniest
Oh, it's
things.
so funny.
The names for his secretary.
Yeah.
He improved that, and he was like covering that. Let me use your shawl or to cover the naked thing.
Yeah.
It
There's
was
a lot
so
of outtakes
funny.
of her, just because he just keeps cracking Yvette up, but it's like it's just
I
people
love her. She's
laughing.
brilliant. Yeah. And at one point we had that woman say penis too, which I don't think you see.
What,
Yeah.
what did he say her name was? I missed it. Maybe if we were talking about it. Did it say, do you remember that part when
forgot.
Jim
It
was
was
like, it was
Siobhan or something
yeah.
like.
It's like,
I also I know this
Desiree.
is jumping
Yeah,
back to like what we were
Desiree.
talking about before, but one thing I really like about
Giant thumb in a turtleneck. Whoop-de-doo.
yeah, like that.
Yeah.
not all of them look like
Meanwhile-
giant thumbs and turtlenecks.
They all look like that to me. To me, Allison.
Oh, okay.
They, and also, I'd like to say, what a graphic like that. The mannequin must have, from the back, it looked like it would be a normal mannequin, but in the front, it must have
think
really
it
just
was.
No,
been
they really
slamming.
they dug into it like they carved
Twitter question breakdown. When did you decide that Jeff and Annie were going to get together? Episode 6.
Didn't we already talk about that? Oh, after the debate episode.
Well,
But you didn't
yeah,
really
but
decide it after that.
Episode 6, Halloween, the last shot of you guys dancing together. I was
Really?
like, okay, well, this is going to get out of control.
No way.
No, I'm not kidding. Yeah, that's when we started talking about it. Really, you gave him a look in the pilot that made me go, "Ugh, that's good." Like you know, the idea was from the beginning that we wanted a cast with an age range that would complicate things sexually, that made it really possible for everyone feasibly to nail anybody.
Oh, I like that.
So that there was a difficult social dynamic. It's harder to just maintain social order in an environment of unsheathed penis and rampant nether regions.
it's just everywhere.
All right.
So, Hillary, you said that Donald and Danny were actually going to race during the filming of this episode.
We really wanted to do that. It was just too late, and we needed to move a lot faster. But I think that Donald and Danny need to race in real life.
Could I also say something about these condoms? Danny brought some friends to set from out of town, and he was going through props and like giving them souvenirs, and he found some of the condoms, and he was like, "Oh, here, guys, take these Greendale condoms. They're awesome." And then he was like, "But don't use them."
Oh my gosh. We spent like $5,000 on condoms for
Really?
this episode. Yeah.
On Greendale
$5,000?
condoms.
Yeah.
Did Jim improv that line too, where he's like, "What was it?" He's like, "I'm winded. Donald, help me out here."
No, there's a part that because he's walking 50 feet. 50 feet I ran.
Yeah, that's on the gag rail.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Somebody
this was a
asked.
sweet moment.
Oh, do you want to watch it in silence, or should I do a Twitter
Jim Rash
question?
made me laugh so hard.
Crew cast is nice in real life to those of us who have met them. Do you have a good time, or was that for the show? First of all, way to sneak in the fact that you met the crew and cast. That's really what that question is.
Name dropper.
But it is remarkable, as in needing to be remarked upon how much everybody gets along and how friendly and sweet everybody is. You know, I don't even care if that changes. We had a great first season, magical.
Dan.
Well, now we can start hating each other because we know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
But
Totally,
I
I
don't think the show
already
would have been
kinda hate you
possible
guys.
without these guys being like so inexplicably humble, given the talent. That includes this knucklehead here, old Donahue up here. I mean,
Old Donahue. He's just saying a lot.
he's a real nut bar and has his share of mood swings and things, and but I mean,
You feel
It's-
like
it's-
it feels like the show. You're just like at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
we're really
We
close.
love each
Like I really
other.
miss him.
it's kind of
true.
his point to be unredemptive. That's
Yeah.
that's where the Pierce character and the Chevy
He's a-
Chase career intersect. Is like, this is a guy who refuses to go gently.
I say things other people won't say, and that has value. Like it's just like it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
like
totally.
it's very true.
Yeah.
But his decision to do the show, and it was very much his decision. I don't mean that to say it wasn't mine. I mean, he wanted to do the show. Like, he read the script, liked it, and that's a weird decision for him. And it turned out to be really important. That this character is Pierce is he's our Cartman. You know, he's like a staple.
Oh, and here's a nice moment.
I
I'm gonna
always
add her
sweet.
name.
With him and Pierce, I love those. There's something about them that I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's a dad thing
Yeah,
where I meet it, but I get really like kind of choked up. Like this and the one where, he is telling him about like the girl. He's like, "Oh, you can let it out. She broke up with you." He's like, "No, it's okay." And then he just breaks down.
Yeah.
I legit get sad. He's like, "Is it supposed to hurt this bad?" Like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
Except a proton cannot be quantified for individual species.
This
Comparing two
this one's pretty simple.
Oh, but so sweet.
There's a story being told in the tags throughout the year. Troy was this quarterback and prom king, and and all of a sudden he's got his first real friend because he never had to earn a friend before.
I remember you being very specific, like the writers being like, "Make sure you say a glass of water," because I was saying like, "Could you get me some water?" It's like a glass
That's
of
what I
water.
know, 'cause that's
it's perfect because it's
so,
such a little kid thing.
It's code. It's anti-vaccination code.